Today, I'm going to talk to you about a subject that most of you are familiar with, the attempt that was made on Gaspipe. It took place in September of 1986, just prior to Vicamuso and Gaspipe taking over the Lucchese family. Actually, it was just a few months before that. What led up to the attempt on Gas was basically ongoing issues with the Gambino family, specifically Angelo Ruggiero. Supposedly, Gaspipe had called Angelo a rat in the past, a label that caused Angelo a lot of problems. When Angelo learned that Gaspipe was the one who labeled him, he was enraged to the point of wanting to kill him. At that time, another Gambino member, Mickey Boy Paradiso, was partnered up with Gaspipe in the drug business. It's not unusual for members of different families to go into joint ventures, especially when there's money to be made. According to what's known, Angelo and Gas's relationship soured over the profits of the drug money. And the problem only got worse because there was no solution. Let's face it, they couldn't have an official sit-down over this. And they couldn't kick this beef up to the administrations. So for Angelo, the perfect person to assign a Gaspipe hit to was Mickey Boy, who due to his troubles with Gaspipe was more than happy to accept it. It's also highly likely that Angelo was involved with Mickey Boy and Gas's drug business. I've personally been in Mickey Boy's company a few times. He was a very serious and capable guy. At that time, Mickey Boy had a crew of wild kids around him, one of whom was Jimmy Heidel. So Heidel recruited his two friends, Nicholas Guido and Robert Bering, to be part of the Gaspipe hit team. This wasn't Heidel's crew's first rodeo. Heidel and his crew began laying on Gaspipe, but he proved to be overly cautious. In fact, Gaspipe actually knew Heidel from the neighborhood and even helped him get a union job. So Heidel came up with a plan to walk Gaspipe into a trap. He went to Gaspipe's nephew, Fat Vinny DiPiero, and told him that he had stolen checks that he wanted to offload. Fat Vinny set up a meeting between Heidel and Gaspipe, who was interested in the checks. On September 6, 1986, Fat Vinny sat inside the meeting location, the Golden Ox Chinese restaurant on East 71st Street in Flatlands, Brooklyn. Gaspipe pulled up to the restaurant in a Lincoln Town Car about 7:30 p.m. He didn't go straight into the Chinese restaurant. He was sitting in his car eating an ice cream cone. At 8 o'clock, a blue Plymouth Fury was pulling up. The driver was Robert Bering. In the passenger seat was Nicholas Guido, and Jimmy Heidel was in the back seat. They pulled alongside Gaspipe's Lincoln. Guido lifted his 9mm, but fortunately for Gaspipe, the gun jammed. But Heidel fired away with a 12-gauge shotgun. Gaspipe only got hit in his neck and shoulder by the shotgun's pellets. He crawled through his passenger door and rolled out onto the sidewalk. The hit team sped out of there, but a retired detective was able to catch their plate, which later was traced and registered to Bering. As an example of the mentality of this hit team, this guy used his own car. Injured, Gaspipe ran into the Golden Ox. He grabbed the tablecloth to stop the bleeding and took cover in the restaurant's walk-in freezer. He placed a call to Vicamuso, who came to pick him up and took him to a nearby hospital. While in the hospital, Gas received some visitors. There were two detectives working with the FBI Police Joint Task Force. The FBI squads usually have detectives working alongside them. They asked Gaspipe why somebody wanted to shoot him and referred to him by his nickname. This upset him. I told you a million fucking times I don't like being called Gaspipe. So they rephrased the question, this time calling him Mr. Gaspipe. Gaspipe ignored the sarcasm. How should I know? There's nobody that doesn't like me, right? One of the detectives answered him. I could give you a pretty long list of names, actually. But the point is, we'd like to know who shot you. We get very upset when people start shooting each other, and we become very curious when we find out the victim is a member of organized crime. You see my point? Naturally, Gaspipe told them he didn't know anything about organized crime. But his answer made the detectives laugh. That's a good one, so I guess our records are completely wrong. When they say you're a button in the Lucchese family, right? And I guess we got it all wrong when we hear you got some kind of a beef going and somebody doesn't want you to be a button anymore, correct? Gaspipe ended the conversation with, I don't give a fuck about your records. I'm telling you I don't know anything about organized crime, and I don't know who shot me, end of story. The detectives left, and you could believe after they did, all Gaspipe was thinking about was who shot him. For Angelo and Mickey Boy, it wasn't good news that Gaspipe survived, but it would be Angelo that would receive the punishment for that mistake. His childhood friend and boss, John Gotti, was stressed out already with the bullseye on his back. 5 months early, in April, a car bomb meant for him killed his underboss, Frankie DeChico. So as a result of the failed attempt on Gaspipe and adding more aggravation to his life, he shelved Angelo and stripped him of his membership. Mickey Boy had his own headaches. He was picked up months later on a narcotics case. While still recovering from his injuries, Gaspipe plotted his revenge on the people that shot him. The Heidel crew, knowing their lives were in danger, went into hiding. They had the cops and both the Lucchese and Gambino families looking for them. Gaspipe, now out of the hospital, began hearing that a guy named Bering and Heidel were involved. Foolishly, Jimmy Heidel was talking about the attempt he made on Gaspipe. During this time, Gaspipe's associate, Bert Kaplan, told him about two NYPD detectives named Louis Eppolito and Stephen Caracappa. The detectives were giving up information regarding ongoing investigations, pending indictments, and names of informants. Through Kaplan, Gaspipe had them on the payroll for $4,000 a month. And it just so happened that Gaspipe's shooting took place in the 63rd Precinct District, where both detectives worked. According to Jimmy Heidel's mother, back in mid-October 1986, the day her son disappeared, she remembered the detectives surveilling around her house. Eppolito, Caracappa, and Eppolito's cousin Frank Santora caught up with Heidel in Dyker Heights, Brooklyn. The detectives placed him under arrest. He was waiting to meet with Mickey Boy. They put him in the trunk of a green Plymouth, a car that was supplied by Patty Testa, a member of the Lucchese family who owned a used car business in Canarsie, Brooklyn. They delivered Heidel the Gaspipe, who was waiting with Vicamuso in the parking lot of a Toys R Us on Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn. That area was stomping grounds for both the Lucchese and Gambino families. Heidel was then transported to the basement of a house in Bergen Beach, Brooklyn, and he was handcuffed to a chair. After almost a day of being tortured, Heidel blurted out the name of the person that gave him the order to hit gas, Mickey Boy. Vicamuso wanted members of the Gambino family present to witness Heidel's confession. There's a lot of versions of what members actually showed up that night. So let's just say high-ranking members of the Gambino family were present. Heidel happened to be related to Danny and Dino Marino, two Gambino captains. But in this situation, even they couldn't save him. After hearing Heidel confess, the Gambino members told Vic that they were relating information to John Gotti. When they left, Gaspipe, who already shot Heidel over a dozen times, put him out of his misery. His body was placed back in the Plymouth and driven to Joey Testa, the former member of the DeMeo crew, but a Lucchese member by this time. Testa would make the body disappear somewhere in Canarsie, Brooklyn. 2 months later, Gaspipe wanted to exact revenge on another member of the hit team, Nicholas Guido. By this time, word on the street about Heidel's disappearance was well known. Nicholas Guido of Park Slope, Brooklyn, was showing off his new Maxima to his Uncle Tony on Christmas Day 1986. While they were in the car, he was approached by two men who shot him to death. But this Nicholas Guido was not a shooter on the hit team. He worked as a telephone installer and was waiting to either be a sanitation worker or a fireman. The intended target happened to live in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn, but he was hiding after Heidel's disappearance. The mix-up took place when the innocent Nicholas Guido's plate number was given by mistake to get an address. The hit team that night consisted of Frankie Lastarino, Georgie Neck Sapola, and Joey Testa. Georgie Neck actually was the driver, and Frankie and Joey Testa approached Nicholas Guido, but it was Testa who was the shooter. After it became apparent that a major mistake was made, Georgie Neck blamed Frankie Lastarino for the blunder after receiving a tongue lashing from Gaspipe. And Frankie Lastarino backed up his story by taking the blame for the screw-up. Robert Bering was hiding in Long Island. He was formerly a New York City transit cop. Naturally, the news of Heidel's disappearance and the murder of the wrong Nicholas Guido had him panicking. A week after the murder, in January 1987, he began cooperating with the Brooklyn DA's office. He eventually wore a wire and met with Nicholas Guido, who was hiding down in Tampa, Florida. But Guido, who might have been suspicious of him, didn't say anything incriminating. In November of 1987, Bering pled guilty to the attempted murder of Gaspipe and received a 15-year sentence. And in 1989, Nicholas Guido went on trial for attempted murder, but he would only be convicted of second-degree assault. The sad part of the story is Nicholas Guido, who wasn't in the mob and wasn't a street kid for that matter, on the night of his murder, he noticed Frankie Lastarino and Testa approaching him with guns. And he told his uncle, "Get down, stay down, Uncle Tony." Unfortunately, he was hit by the bullets, but he saved his uncle's life. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you could do that as well. And if you think friends and family might enjoy this video, please share it and thank you. I want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. Make sure you treat the women in your life good. All right, enjoy your night, and I'll catch you on the next one.